Ray Whittaker stood alone in the dusty corner of the fading barn. His eyes, large and deep, moved slowly from shadow to shadow. The walls whispered old sounds, like voices stuck in the wooden beams. No one in the village understood why he stayed. In silence, Ray was different, and not just in mind. His entire being felt older than time. The town of Elkhorn had watched him grow, but never truly known him. He never spoke. He never smiled, but he always listened. When children passed by, they walked faster. When elders saw him, they touched their chest and whispered a prayer. Something inside him unsettled the calm. His mother, Lydia Whittaker, had once said he was born without a scream. Just opened his eyes and blinked, like he had seen everything before. The midwife left that day and never came back. Ray's house, isolated from the main road, stood still. It looked untouched by rain, sun, or time. A narrow path led to the front door, overgrown with plants that looked more like fingers than leaves. Inside, silence had a voice. The clocks did not tick. The wind did not blow. Yet something moved. At night, Ray sat by the window, not to see, but to feel. His fingers traced invisible lines in the air, as if reading a book no one could see. Sometimes he hummed, but no one ever heard it. Only the walls, the dust, and whatever watched him from the forest behind the barn. The Whittaker bloodline had stories buried deeper than coffins, stories that twisted like vines. Ray's great-grandfather, Josiah Whittaker, had vanished for 13 years and returned with eyes the color of wet ash. He brought no explanation, just silence. His son, Malcolm, had dreamed so loud the neighbors claimed they could hear them. Then came Lydia. Her diary, found under floorboards, spoke of lightless skies and children made of clay. Ray's blood carried all of it, the silence, the visions, the darkness. Ray's education did not happen in classrooms. Books sent from unknown places arrived at their door. Ancient symbols, unknown alphabets, and drawings that changed when you blinked. He studied without instruction, understood without learning, solved without solving. The local teacher once visited. She stayed 5 minutes and left shaking. Sighed. Ray's eyes made her forget the day. He never walked with others, never joined festivals. But he always knew when someone in the town would fall sick, or when a storm would hit. The sheriff once asked how. Ray just blinked. His voice remained a mystery. His words never touched air. Yet his silence screamed louder than thunder. When he turned 15, he stopped eating food. He sat still for days, body dry and pale, but his eyes never lost their shine. Then, on a night without stars, he stood up, walked into the woods, and returned with red hands. Not blood, not paint, just red, and it never faded. Lydia never asked. She just washed the floor. The world online discovered Ray through a single blurry photo. A boy with a crooked posture, standing barefoot in snow, with no footprints around him. The internet called him cursed. Others called him chosen. Views poured in. Comments tried to explain. But Ray never read any of it. He did not own a phone or a mirror. He believed his reflection was a lie. Sometimes he stared into still water, for hours watching himself, not to admire, but to question. The barn behind his house once held animals. Now it held drawings, carvings, bones shaped like letters, and jars filled with whispers. His body moved like it had no weight. He bent, backwards more than the spine allowed. His skin felt colder than stone. Doctors came once, left confused. One said his heartbeat sounded like ticking, not thumping. Another said he had no shadow under bright light. His daily routine was beyond normal. He woke with the first breath of dawn, walked backward from his bed to the window, sat in silence, counted in a language no one had heard. Then he disappeared for hours. When he returned, his fingers smelled of ash and honey. Ray never touched anyone. Skin contact, he believed, would burn memory. A neighbor tried once. She forgot her husband's name for 3 days. Coincidence, they said, but the town never came close again. Inside the Whittaker home, time had folded. The paintings on the wall showed places no one had seen. Mountains that curled upward, oceans with eyes, doors with no knobs. One room stayed locked. Lydia called it the listening room. Only Ray entered. He stayed inside for minutes, sometimes days. When he came out, his nose bled and his hair turned lighter. No one questioned. No one dared. When Lydia passed, no funeral was held. Ray buried her behind the house, not in a grave, but standing up, wrapped in black cloth, facing the moon. A single crow sat beside her, and never flew away. Years passed. Ray aged, but slowly. His face remained young, eyes old, skin stretched but smooth. Some said he drank rainwater only. Others claimed he never blinked. The barn lights flickered even without electricity. People came from far, hoping to see him. Some did. Most left before nightfall. One journalist spent an hour with him, then left her job and vanished into the hills. Her note said, "He is not one. He is many wearing one face." Ray's family tree had missing names. People scratched off from records. Aunts who married brothers. Cousins who gave birth to twins with shared hearts. The Whittakers did not grow. They multiplied within. The house echoed with more than footsteps. At night, voices spoke from walls. But no mouths moved. Ray never feared. He welcomed it. His bedroom. Ceiling had no paint, only carved circles, joined in spirals. They changed shape during sleep. Once he vanished for 3 days, returned with a stitched wound across his chest. Said nothing, just placed a stone on the table that moved on its own. His eyes told stories no book could hold. Ray lived alone, but not in silence. Things surrounded him, things that whispered through cracks, shadows that danced without light. His story remains untold by voice, but echoed in dreams of those who visited. Ray Whittaker breathes among us, but he does not belong to us.